Hi everyone. Oh gosh. The light. Do I gotta do this? What do I gotta do? Get that light out of everyone's face. Hopefully some. There we go. Nope, not quite. Best I can do. Hello. Allison, did you forget that Lulu's his literal sister? Lulu is his sister. That's a pretty good reason to come back to Port Charles. And all of her kids. He is a Spencer, so that includes Carly, Joss. There's a few characters he's tied to. His close friendship with Christina at one point as well. So Ethan does have reasons to come back. But what's up, guys? Welcome to the General Hospital After Show. I am your host, Dion Gabriel. And before we get into the show, obviously we got some casting news to discuss, which we're kind of already getting into. I'm sorry about my light. Usually doesn't do this whole shiny thing when I'm, live. It's a bit weird. But it's that kind of day, I guess. Alright. So yeah, Nathan Dean, formerly known as Nathan Parsons, is returning to the show as Ethan Lovett, the controversial son of Luke Spencer and Holly Sutton. We know very little about his return beyond the fact that he'll be back on our screens in April for a story with, according to Frank Valentini, a great story with, of course, a few twists along the way. But I'm pretty excited about it, honestly. It sounds like it's more than a cameo appearance, which is, more or less has been the bulk of his returns the last few times. From the 50th anniversary to Luke's exit story to Holly's fake death in 2020. The character came back briefly in 2023 with a different actor for Tracy's return to the show when she, Holly, and Felicia rescued him from what essentially was a human trafficking auction to, bid to kill him, basically. I have to wonder if he'll be sharing scenes with Christina, as the non-couple was probably one of the bigger aspects of the character's storyline in his first run on the show. And also, the two characters, they haven't gotten to share scenes in any of his brief returns either, because every story that he's been a part of since he first left has taken place outside of Port Charles. So, so there's a few things, that he'll have to rebuild, obviously. He does have to rekindle a relationship with his sister Lulu, because, she's back. She's out of a coma. I don't know if they've established whether he visited her in a coma or not. I can't remember anyway. But he does need to get to know her again, and I really like that aspect. That's why I kind of giggled when people were saying that he has no ties to the canvas. I'm like, well, no, he does. He has plenty. And all of them are anyone that Luke had a relationship with. And especially Tracy, because Tracy and Ethan did get close enough for him to for Tracy to literally come to his rescue just a couple of years ago. So, let's not forget, Ethan, as long as he's been gone, other than Luke, no one else really left that he had relationships with, And he did get along with Laura as well. And I think that Laura would like having Luke's son in town, even if it's not, her child. Christina is gay. They better not undo that now. Well, I don't know. When Christina came out, she didn't come out as fully gay. It's her original story was that she was sexually fluid. So I don't know. I don't know. The gay thing was a rewrite. Laura was catatonic when Ethan was around. Yes, but they met in 2013 when Helena kidnapped him. And Laura and Ethan had a really good conversation about how she doesn't remotely blame him for being born, and that she loves that her daughter has someone willing to go up to bat for her. So maybe you missed that, but there was quite a big moment between Laura and Ethan when they met. And they got to meet again in Luke's final storyline. Also, actually, technically speaking, Laura was not catatonic at all when Ethan was around. Because Laura officially woke up from her coma in 2008, and Ethan came onto the show in 2009. So Laura was not in a coma; she was living in Paris. So let's fact check your information before you start spewing that stuff out, Allison. It's not, I don't want to fact check, but like you've gotten all of it wrong so far. You think they're gonna make him Robert's son? I don't think so. Yeah, Laura was out of the coma. Yes, the timeline and Ethan and Laura having a relationship already. Alright, but let's move on to the show itself. Yeah. Oh, actually, before we do, I think, aside from, rebuilding his relationships with Lulu and maybe Christina, another possibility that I was thinking is that it might be the start of Robert's death storyline. He might not be Robert's son, despite the debate over the years, but usually when Ethan's involved, Holly's not that far behind. And since Holly and Robert went off into the sunset a couple years ago, using Ethan to usher in Robert's final storyline would make sense, to me anyway. But yeah, now let's get into the show itself. At the start of this week, the PCBD have decided they basically had to decide whether or not to mark Drew shooting as a cold case, given the fallout of the incident with Michael's keys and how Drew's house key was on them turned into a shit show because Chase handled them and pointed Nathan in the direction of them. Justine is certain that they had the right person to begin with, and they did, but Alexis did too good of a job for Willow to be prosecuted. And now Willow has to prepare for her new role as a congresswoman while still having to keep Drew slightly more animated mannequin in the meantime. More on that in a moment, though. Oh, Allison, that happened in 2013, Laura and Ethan's relationship. Alright, Sunny and Justine was in my notes as well. So I'm kind of rushing through because I'm later than usual and I'm a little bit flustered. But yeah, Sunny and Justine are trying to figure out where they stand after the investigation against Michael hit a dead end. They acknowledge that they were both trying to take advantage of each other. Sunny trying to have DA in his pocket, and Justine tried to use his attraction towards her as a way to find more about his criminal activities. Neither of that panned out for either of them. The two horned up birds even discussed sleeping together, and truth is, we never learned if they did, unless I somehow missed it, which is entirely possible. It's been a weird week, honestly, for me. I've had to spend most of the week watching clips online. Don't ask. So if I missed it, let me know. But I don't think I did. Now, let's talk about Willow's new role as a congresswoman. First of all, happy International Women's Day, by the way. Girl power and all of that. A woman can do whatever she wants and probably do it much better than a man. And I can say that as a man. As long as a man isn't pulling the strings and controlling her. That'll be Willow's major test going forward. Obviously, she's a sitting duck having zero clue how to be a congresswoman, which in Sidwell's mind makes her a lot easier to control. But Willow is a wild card in the sense that she is unhinged enough to let a man ruin her life more than once. Actually, Allison, I think also by then the suing had begun and the One Life to Live characters were ushered off the show. Just before the 50th anniversary, or maybe during, I don't know. It was like April 2013. So maybe around the same time. But yeah, Laura's trying to encourage Willow to do good for the community rather than whatever a rich person wants from her, much to a temporarily recasted Ezra Boyle's dismay. It's funny how much taller that guy was than the original actor, though. Kind of threw me a little bit. Did Willow graduate high school not to know about how to be a congresswoman? Who knows? Who knows? Wasn't she like a grade 2 teacher and a nurse? I think it takes a little more than that to become a liable politician. You know, in a perfect world. Otherwise, D-list celebrities become politicians, and it doesn't bode well for wars. Sipping tea there. Sorry, I'm sassy today, you guys. Todd and Carly. It's so funny. Todd and Carly worked. Franco and Carly did not for me. Turns out it's not. Actors' chemistry alone does not make the couple. It's also the writing. But yeah, going back to Willow though. Willow's a wild card in the sense that she is unhinged enough to not let a man ruin her life more than once. Laura's, you know, I feel like Laura is a good person to have in Willow's corner. As much as I hate her, because Willow kind of already has it in her head that she kind of wants to do good for the community. She might be a little bit of a psycho, but she can make things better for people and maybe pull off being a congresswoman, and she feels like maybe she can get the better of Sidwell. That part might be a little bit too bold because, you know, it's just a dangerous, I don't know. He's a dangerous man. But, I mean, we saw what she did to Drew. By the way, the funniest part of Willow's first day was the photo op that she did with Drew strapped in like a chair with a suit and Laura by their side. Second funniest part was her earlier interview with Lulu, where Nina did most of the talking because she had no clue how to handle press about issues and policies she's never even read up on yet. Lulu clocked it a bit and was kind enough to go easy on her, so I give Lulu props for that. But yeah, I don't think Willow's going to be too easy for Sidwell to control completely. And I'm intrigued by that. I am. My day's going good. How about yours? Good to see you, Jacarius. Alright, now Willow might not be Sidwell's only problem, especially since Lucas convinced Marco to try and get a hold of Britt's medicine so they can recreate it and get her out of Sidwell's thumb. Marco tried, and Sidwell nearly caught him. Marco seemingly did a good job at covering his tracks, but I am a little wary just because Sidwell isn't going to think twice about offing Lucas if he has to. And he seems to be cooking something up by inviting Carly and Jack to Windermere for dinner with Lucas, Marco, and even Ava. Dinner hasn't happened yet, but it's in the works. What his plan is, I'm not too sure, but there's just something's up. Something's afoot. Oh, and speaking of Carly, let's get into this stuff, right? Alright, so Carly has had one hell of a week herself. Sidwell aside, she had the misfortune of Jocelyn showing up at her house while Carly was out doing something else. And Lulu and Charlotte were there dropping off something for Donna, and of course, Charlotte took the opportunity to sneak upstairs to see Valentin. She didn't get caught, but after they left, Lulu and Charlotte, Joss heard movement upstairs. And so she pulls out her gun and goes to investigate. She finds Valentin in the attic, knocks him to the ground, and ties him up, just in time for Carly to walk in and see her do it. And when I tell you how impressed I was with these scenes between Carly and Jocelyn, I'm not exaggerating. This was easily Eden McCoy's best work. And to be honest with you, she has never been one to wow me in performances, which when you consider she's had like multiple boyfriend deaths on screen and disappearances of her guys, it's probably not a great track record. So I had to give props where it's due. Eden really impressed me. This is the first time I could actually see her being a WSB, and that being a WSB has truly warped her, and how she's really like two different people when it comes to her job and when it comes to her family. This was Carly's first time seeing Joss in WSB mode, and it was one hell of an argument. Carly confessed that she knew Joss was in the WSB and that she was working with Valentin to try and get her out of there. Joss was notably pissed, especially because her mom could literally go to jail for treason for 20 years for harboring a level 5 fugitive, or whatever the wording is for a huge criminal in Port Charles. Carly was shocked to learn that she wasn't as easily manipulated by Jack as she thought, and that her motivation for becoming a member of the WSB was to bring Sonny down, as well as people like him, so she blames herself, although, you know, she's been working with Jason, so that's interesting. Jocelyn also learned Jason was the one who outed her to Carly during her conversation, and she stormed to Jason's place of work to rip him a new one as well, but also lets him know what Carly's been up to, since he obviously didn't know about the Valentin angle. But yeah, it's basically Jason was just like, well, what did you want me to do? You were in danger, and your mom deserved to know the truth. Jack was putting you in danger. Allison, you said, I like Eden, but Joss is too obsessed with Sonny. That's the thing, when she was talking with Jason, like, it seemed to be a lesser thing with her. Like, taking Sonny down, and really she hasn't even been anywhere near Sonny with being in the WSB, so like that might have been her reasons for joining, but it doesn't seem to be on her roster as an agent. So, and really she's not really taking anyone down yet. So and you know, unbeknownst to her, the guy that she has to bring down is frickin' Cullen, who's in the WSB. So, you know, good on you, Jocelyn, really showing them by joining the place where there's people that you have to take down now as a person in the same position. But yeah. Luckily for Carly, Jocelyn isn't aware of the fact that Carly was the one that broke Valentin out. But, you know, it is unfortunate. She has to make the decision to not turn Carly in, which she's already said she's not going to. Valentin's obviously worried that Jocelyn might still turn him in, but Carly is so distraught by Jocelyn's reasoning for joining the WSB that she's killed multiple people, by the way, starting with Cyrus and continuing with various goons. And boy, did Valentin comfort Carly. They full on slept together, y'all. I don't know how I feel, honestly. I mean, I figured this was coming. The writing was very much clearly on the wall for it. I don't know. It's just very weird. I don't know if the chemistry is there. WSB is becoming the FBI. The show is creepy and always against America. Even more so now. They're just protecting a bunch of pedophiles, including the president. Hey, Ricardo. Ricardo Jefferson. Now Jocelyn wants to bring Sunny down. Well, no, that was her reason to going in, but I think part of me thinks that Jocelyn really pushed that because Carly was thinking that Jocelyn was this easily manipulated person, and she's like, no, I wanted to do good in this world, and I wanted to bring Sunny down. That is my reason for going in, which, to be fair, it was, but, like, she hasn't talked about it in months, so I think it was more so just to push back at Carly for thinking that she's a wallflower, or a victim in this. Sandy, you said the writers have written Joss as a grown woman with a career, yet Trina is aging backwards. That part, honestly, they have regressed Trina into so childlike, and we'll talk about them in a second here. But we'll get into her parents first, because we should. But yeah, like, do you guys think Carly and Valentin are a good couple? Are there Carly and Valentin fans? I'm not sold on them, but let me know what you guys think on that. Coretta, you said, I believe Sunny and Justine did sleep together, despite the off-screen love scene. They both were up the next day in the spare bedroom above Charlie's. Oh, see, I missed that part. So I did miss some clips. Oh dear, I'll have to go back and watch that. Wish she would have brought Jagger. I don't know. I don't know if Jocelyn knows about Jagger. You like them better as friends, Carly and Valentin? I do too. I like them. I liked the friendship that they were building while this has all been going down. I don't know if I see the romantic chemistry there. I like them as like people who respect each other and respect their sort of understandability towards their life choices. That's how I'm feeling. Alright, but yeah, let's talk about Portia and Curtis. So, just to check in with the lesser drama moments on the show. Turns out they were trying to decide to sell their family home, and after eavesdropping on Trina and Portia's conversation, Curtis thought it would be best to give Portia the house entirely, and to find somewhere else to live. Lucy was not happy, but Curtis did say he'll still use her to find himself a new place. Unfortunately for Lucy, Jordan offered him to move in permanently to her place, and he's cool with it. What he doesn't know is Jordan might be pregnant. Oh, Lord. I love that their whole thing was, if we're going to be together, we can't keep secrets from each other beyond our work things. And Jordan's already possibly hiding a possible pregnancy from him, as she asks him to move in. Like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. This couple's a whole mess, y'all. And I'd be shocked that if Jordan does turn out to be pregnant, she will likely die giving birth, because I'm not even convinced this show wants to give Jordan a real story anyway. Although, we just experienced a mom dies after giving birth story, which we'll talk about in a second. But first, Trina's friends discovered she's a really good singer. Here it comes again, giving another just pretty good singer on the show a becoming a pop star story. So left field and pointless, but I guess this means GH won't have to hire someone expensive to sing at Charlie's Pub's open mic night now that Christina has decided to reopen the place, where Sunny and Justine apparently have already christened a bed. I'll have to go and find those scenes then. Was the aftermath on Friday? Let me know. Sandy said, I hope she's not pregnant. Yeah. Oh, Coretta, you said, when Joss was talking to Jason and she mentioned bringing Sunny down, Jason asked her if it was a smokescreen, but she said no, she really wants to take Sunny down. Yeah, but it was in the way that she kind of said it. She was like, yeah, I mean, Yeah, I do. I want to take Sunny down. But she seems so passive about it that I'm like, I'm not convinced that that's her priority anymore. Sandy, you hope she's not pregnant. I think it was on Tuesday. I'll check back. I'll go on YouTube after this and maybe look it up. But yeah, Trina's story is now like, oh, she's a good singer. She should do open mics. Maybe she'll get famous. Like, I just feel bad because, like, what are they doing with Trina, y'all? What are they doing? Like, this past year and a bit, like, her acting so childish about Portia and Isaiah and giving, I don't know, just being mad that her parents aren't getting back together. And it's like, that's the storyline we gave, like, child Michael Corinthos with Sonny and Carly for how many years? Like, with him, like, locking them in, like, a basement and just begging them to get back together. Like, it's giving that. And girl is, like, in her 20s. You need to be not caring about whether your parents are still together or not at that point. Sonny's getting out of the business. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. That's not political, Kaiwan. That's just racism. And I think people need to start differentiating when something is a political choice versus a racist choice or another reason. Because not everything is politics. Unfortunately, there are racist politicians that have more power than they should. But racism and politics are different things. And that's not me saying that the writers of GH are racist. I think that it's a bit higher than that. But, and I mean, by that I mean the network versus the people running GH. But yeah. Now, about that mom dies after giving birth storyline that I mentioned. If you are only keeping tabs on the show without watching it, you're probably thinking it's too soon for Portia to give birth, and you'd be right. So let me catch you up on the speedy, instant story we got this week, where while Brooklyn and Chase were strolling on an industrial-looking building that's supposed to be close to a real good dinner spot, the two of them stumble across a very heavily pregnant lady who was unconscious on the ground. She comes to right away and swears that she's okay. She just thinks her blood sugar is low. And when they're about to walk her back to her hotel, she starts experiencing pain. So Chase and Brooklyn take her to GH. She was experiencing internal bleeding, so Britt, with help from Lucas and Liz, do an emergency C-section to get the baby out. The baby survives, but the mom, whose name is Delilah, by the way, dies. And Brooklyn and Chase make it their mission to find the woman's family, despite not having any ID or any clue as to if the baby's father is in their life. Clearly, this is going to be the baby that Chase and Brooklyn are going to try to adopt, but it's not a shoo-in. We've actually seen a storyline like this before with Robin Scorpio on Night Shift before Emma was born, and it didn't go well, but because the father fought for the baby in the end, and Robin lost because of that. But whether this goes well or not for Brooklyn and Chase, there was a mystery tattoo on her wrist. Maybe that'll be a clue. It's not the Dawn of Day tattoo, though. I know some of you guys at the beginning of the stream were kind of theorizing that it could be. I don't think it is, but it does feel culty. Maybe Ethan will have ties to this storyline. I don't know. But it wasn't a Dawn of Day tattoo, because I went back and looked at like what the Dawn of Day tattoo looked like, and it wasn't that. But I don't know. It could be like another cult, or it could be something else. I think someone mentioned that it might have to do with Faison. Maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe Ethan's the baby's father. I don't know. I mean, we're only a month away from Ethan coming back to the show, so it's not out of the possibility. Right now, Nathan is going to try to track down the hotel she was in, see if they can find her more of her personal belongings, because Nathan went back to the park to investigate to see if there was a purse. There was a purse, but everything was stolen out of it, unfortunately. Do we think Nathan is the father of the baby's child? Ooh, that's another good theory. I mean, if Nathan's had this life for like 7 years that we don't know about, and he doesn't remember, supposedly. So maybe Nathan's a clone, you guys. I don't know. Who knows? By the way, Britt was struggling after the loss of this patient. Elizabeth did her best to comfort her and encourage her, which I loved, because it was very reminiscent of the relationship that they had before Britt died a few years ago, which I appreciate. You know, it's like the most frustrating thing about Britt's return to me is that they really had her regress to who she was when she first came on the show. But I mean, obviously, with the storyline that she's in, I think it was a protective mechanism to push people away so that they couldn't use them against Britt in any way. Allison, you said brainwash or something, probably. Maybe. But yeah, Britt was having a hard time with that, and she went to Jason for more comfort after talking to Elizabeth. And, you know, Jason comforted her as well, until Jocelyn showed up, and, you know, to rip him a new one for telling Carly about her. Basically, she demanded her to get out and to not get caught when she leaves, so it doesn't look like she's gonna out Britt to anyone either. But yeah. I have no context to what that means, Kaiwan. Alright, finally, let's talk about Lulu and Nathan, because I know you guys have been kind of chatting about it all night. But I wanted to save that for last, because it is another one of the bigger storylines that happened this week. So Lulu and Nathan, they had made a decision already to be honest with Maxie about what happened between them, but they couldn't keep their hands off each other in the hospital corridor, and Felicia saw them kissing. She ripped Lulu a new one, because Nathan had left already at that point, and told her that even if she was planning to tell the truth to Maxie, she'd be delusional to think that Maxie would stand for it. And it turns out Felicia knows her daughter pretty well, because that's literally what happened. Lulu confessed to Maxie, and despite picking Spinelli and wanting Nathan to genuinely be happy, she doesn't want him happy with Lulu. And here's the thing, like, I know people are like dead against Lulu and Nathan. I'm neither here nor there with it. Like, I'm not like rooting for them really. I feel like, but here's my thing. I feel like if Lulu actually went into more detail, honestly, I don't think Maxie would have been as cold. Uncomfortable for sure, but not as cold. Like, maybe, I think Lulu should have mentioned the parallels of hers and Nathan's situation. Coming back into a life that didn't stand still when they were gone, adjusting to parenthood from suddenly grown children, Nathan being a rock for her while she was on edge, thinking Valentin was going to snatch her daughter, maybe even mentioning they were taking refuge from a snowstorm and ended up kissing, which you'd think Maxie would be familiar with that topic since she kissed Lulu's ex-boyfriend Johnny while sheltering from a blizzard once, while they were still dating, no less. And I'm not taking sides here, I'm just saying, glass houses, alright? Like, Maxie's still in a couple of Lulu's boyfriends. And one was out of malice, and one was because she was just attracted to the guy. But I don't know. I don't know. Part of me is like, I understand Maxie's reaction not being what it was. But again, I don't understand why Lulu left out such important details as to how they got together. Like, she just made it seem like, well, we were just constantly together because he just wanted to be a good parent to James, and I love James, and then, you know, next thing you know, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and suddenly we saw that something was there. But it was like, no, they were like, there was a lot more nuance than that, and I feel like if they added the nuance to the script, Maxie would have been a bit more, oh, I get it, about it. Not that she would still give them her blessing or anything, but I think she'd understand it more. But what I'd like to see happen next is Nathan and Maxie having a conversation about it, because maybe he'll come at her a bit more calm and cool. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like Maxie's reaction is interesting. Like, she did kind of say, like, well, I had no choice when it came to, like, picking Spinelli. But I don't think that she meant it in, like, I would rather be with Nathan kind of way. I think it was more like, well, yeah, I built my life with Spinelli, and it was a no-brainer choice. Like, I'm not going to not pick Spinelli when he's kept my family together, and he's been so sweet to Nathan, and all this, but, you know, it's complicated. And I think Maxie as well, like, she saw that Spinelli was even willing to give her space given the situation, and I think that ultimately helped Maxie decide, well, it's obviously you, like, you did all this to me. It's not that Nathan wouldn't have done that if the roles were reversed, but I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to see Nathan and Maxie have a conversation, and maybe, hopefully, he gives a better explanation. Yes, there's also still the factor that there's this mystery surrounding Nathan. We don't know, like, there's obviously, he's got ties to Faison in some way, and Britt's somewhat aware. I want Jason to ask Britt what Nathan has to do with Faison's return, because she's been honest with him now for a while, and she has faith in him, so I want them to have a conversation about it. And it feels like the only reason why they haven't is just to, like, keep the mystery of Nathan from the audience more. So I don't know. From a writing point of view, or a writer's point of view, and a behind the scenes point of view, when it comes to Nathan and Spinelli and Maxie's choice, Maxie and Kirsten Storms, like, she's commuting back and forth, so she won't be on as much as Nathan can be, so it makes sense from that point as well. Are Nathan and Maxie technically married? I don't know. It's a gray area. It is a gray area. They just Money Mac just honestly, Money Mac, that's what it feels like sometimes. They're just the writers, they don't have a plan. They're just going. That's what it feels like sometimes, honestly. You're right. Oh, man. But yeah. Now I've lost my train of thought. Thanks, Money Mac. But yeah. Oh yeah. Like, Maxie's commuting, or Kirsten Storms is commuting, and won't be on as much as Nathan can be. I think that might be factoring in as well. Hey, Angel. Sorry you came in at the end here. But yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting turn of events. I want Nathan and Maxie to have a conversation. Also, Obrecht was not happy when she learned about Nathan's feelings for Lulu as well. She was the biggest Maxie fan. But luckily Nina tricked her into leaving the country by pulling some strings to get her into some doctor seminar in New Zealand. So yeah, Obrecht's off the show now for a while. I think she's shooting a movie or something, or she was. We'll see. Either way, I really enjoy having Obrecht on the screen, so hopefully she's back soon. Joss still annoys you. I get that. Yeah, but I have to give credit where credit is due, Angel. I think that Eden McCoy, did a great job in the scenes. Yeah, they were honestly my favorite scenes. Like the conversation between her and Carly, my favorite scenes of the week in the show overall. I'm intrigued to see where the story goes with them going forward, because it's getting a whole lot more complicated for Carly. That is for sure. Alright, y'all. But I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. It's almost 10 o'clock here, Mountain Time. I'm pretty sure you guys get daylight savings time at the same time as we do, right? So timings have changed for you guys as well, I think. Probably. Some of you. Some people aren't even doing daylight savings anymore. Even provinces in our own country, here in Canada, are having their last one. Low-key, I kind of wish Alberta was doing the same, but we're not, as far as I know. Angel says Joss needs therapy. Everyone in Port Charles needs therapy. It's a rough city to live in. Yes, that was today. Yeah, that's why I did a 9 o'clock stream instead of a 8:30. I just sleep-wise, it didn't help. It didn't help my day. Arizona doesn't have it. Yeah, there's some places that don't and maybe never did. But yeah. Yeah, it throws me off. I don't mind in the fall. I really don't. You get that extra hour of sleep, but when you lose it in the spring, it sucks. Almost midnight here in Atlanta. Oof, that is rough. Alright, well, I won't keep you guys. My thoughts overall before I end the stream. Great week on General Hospital. Again, I missed a couple of scenes here and there because there were days where I had to watch just the clips instead of a full episode. But yeah. It's hard getting up earlier. Yeah, that's true. Yep, we fall back and spring forward. Yep. Us too. Alright. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and for being patient. My current situation with the situations with my family, they're still ongoing, and we're still all kind of dealing with the fallout of certain things. So I'm doing my best to come on here to live stream while we kind of fly by the seat of our pants in other situations. Hopefully they get resolved. And then we can get back to me not being as flustered during my streams. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning into the show. If you liked it, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. And I will catch you guys next Sunday. Good night. Mwah.